JoJo Siwa made history on Dancing with the Stars as she joined the show with a female dance partner on the 30th season of the wildly beloved show. And despite starting the season on a strong note, it seems as though she's not been faring well more recently in the competition. In most recent news, JoJo Siwa bombed on Dancing with the Stars, and here's everything you need to know about it. And keep watching because later on, we plan to show you other spectacular fails on Dancing with the Stars. Queen's Night performance. Since getting to the show, there's not a lot that JoJo Siwa has managed to do wrong. If anything, Siwa has managed to put out performances that top each other consecutively. And this brings us to their most recent performance on the show. The episode titled Queen Night focused on performances inspired by Freddie Mercury, the legendary lead singer of the band Queen. JoJo has exclaimed time and time again that Freddie Mercury is her idol, and Jenna Johnson, her partner, and JoJo herself went all out for the night. They pulled all the stops to put on a great dance routine that involved a tango to the electric song Body Language. This, of course, was the right one because all the judges were on board. Siwa's dance history plus her great chemistry with Johnson and her passion for Queen awarded her a solid 39 out of 40 by the judges panel. What went wrong? But unfortunately enough, the audience votes just weren't there for the duo, and Siwa and Johnson found themselves at the bottom too, alongside competitors Mike the Mitz Mizanin and Whitney Carson. And this was as much a shock to them as it was to the rest of the show team and viewers alike. The Miz and Whitney Carson have both been bringing in mediocre scores at best for the past few runs, which is why it was odd that JoJo Siwa and Jenna Johnson were also in the running to the decisively eliminated. But at the same time, it wasn't all surprising when the Miz and Whitney Carson were eliminated. Siwa and Johnson have scored 40, 40, and 39 consecutively for the last 3 performances. This makes the pair have the highest average score amongst competitors this whole season, so it was not exactly unpredictable that JoJo did not walk out of the competition last episode. Why JoJo Siwa may need to step it up in terms of social media presence. But that's not to say that this debacle hasn't affected JoJo Siwa at all, because despite being a continuous high achiever of scores and the judges like team, Dancing with the Stars is a competition that also considers viewers' input into account, and it is unclear why the audience just was not feeling Siwa's performance last episode, but it must be remedied, especially now that the competition is coming too close. JoJo Siwa is up against other talented dancers like Amanda Klutz and even Olivia Jade, both of whom have great dancing chops. In fact, Jade had found herself in the exact same situation as JoJo in one of the past few episodes, so it would not be an understatement to say that the audience votes are all over the place for this season of Dancing with the Stars. But what does that mean for Siwa's future on the show? Well, it can't be denied that JoJo Siwa had been a bit of a household name before starring on the show. In fact, the internet celebrity had made herself quite a name on YouTube and other social media platforms, to the point where her name was a whole brand itself. And when JoJo came out as pansexual before appearing on the show, the sensationalism and bravery of the gesture only helped her case. As the first star on the show with a same-sex partner, it was clear that JoJo's story on the show would be the stuff of legend, and hopefully pave the way for a more inclusive reality TV competition environment. Her follower count on social media, which hits millions upon millions, divided across platforms like Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter, is usually the reason she stays on top of elimination rounds. And it's surprising they did not come through the last episode, but perhaps this low will serve as a wake-up call of sorts to all her fans who want to watch the star win. Olivia Jade's supporters managed to pull through this week after she was in the same position as JoJo Siwa last week, so it'd stand to reason that Siwa's fans would as well. Does this guarantee safety for JoJo Siwa long term? Well, one does wonder, especially after the last episode's hit, if JoJo Siwa is meant to stay on the show long term. Yes, her performances usually garner praise from all the judges and manage to pull very high scores, but if audience votes aren't piled in, that just means bad news for the widely beloved dancing duo. Despite being a fan favorite, this little stint was the first ever time it felt plausible that she might be walking home for real, and her time with the show could have been over. As much of a fight as JoJo Siwa has put up with, it's undeniable that the competition is getting tough, and both Jenna Johnson and JoJo Siwa will have to step their game up and be appealing to the masses. It's clear that the judges' scores aren't their problem, but it is also very possible that what happened in this episode was a fluke that won't be repeated again, as her fans might realize that she needs their support to make it on the show, now more than ever. On the topic of celebrity dancers, on the topic of other celebrities that have graced the show with their presence and haven't been nearly as successful as JoJo, let's talk about David Hasselhoff. Yes, David Hasselhoff participated in the show in 2010, but you probably don't remember for the same reason that no one else does. The star was eliminated 1 week after appearing on the show. The reason? Weird dancing. It was weird enough that the version of the cha-cha was deemed a potpourri of insanity disguised as dance by Judge Bruno Tonioli. Another celebrity who did not fare or assimilate as well as Siwa was actress Misha Barton, who not only visibly despised dancing, but was also clearly not enjoying her time on the show in 2016. The actress was voted off 2 weeks into her stint, and when later discussing the events as part of her life, she said that she didn't anticipate it being so bad, and that she even got told off by her dance instructor and partner. She compared the show and her time there to the Hunger Games, and called it all a popularity contest. She claimed that it was awful and she was glad to have been eliminated. Those are some harsh words. Comparing the show to a fictional murder sport. Well, it's obvious she didn't volunteer for this. More awkward celebrity fails. When you're in a reality competition like Dancing with the Stars, you need to be aware that not all stars you manage to get for the show will end up elevating it. And such was the case for Kim Kardashian, Kardashian West. Kim Kardashian West appeared on Dancing with the Stars for a brief period in 2008, back when the Kardashian brand wasn't nearly as widespread as it is today. Although that is not to say it wasn't popular at all, it was kinda obvious that the show is of little significance to her, when she was constantly criticized for her lack of enthusiasm. The judges went as far as to call her dancing cold, and that they were unable to connect with her performances. And back then, Kim chalked all that up to her shyness. When interviewed mid-show, Kim claimed she cried when she received a bad score, especially because this whole thing was a way out of her comfort zone and hard for her. She claimed that her inner shyness was making it seem like she was not trying when in fact, she was probably taking the spars too seriously in her head. But all that effort went to nothing, as she was the third person eliminated that season of the show, alongside dance partner Mark Ballas. We suppose dancing isn't what Kim Kardashian needs to be good at if she's going to be running a whole empire built around her brand itself. The first athlete on the show. Before athletes like Simone Biles stepped on the big screen in form of amateur dancers, there was Evander Holyfield, a household name in the boxing community. Holyfield was on the show in 2005, and in his brief time in the show, managed to make it on Inaba's list of the worst dancers and stars on the show, ever. He danced with Eddie Teslawinska, one of the pros at the time. It is undeniable that he paved the way for more athletes to try their hand at the show, but it is also undeniable that he was a tragic dancer. Inaba claimed that his addition to the show as the first ever athlete itself gave him points, and Inaba credited him for that. He came in 5th on the show, and no one, besides probably him, was surprised that he did not win first place. And with that, we wrap up this video. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed watching this video, be sure to leave a like and leave a comment down below. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to get notified every time we post a new video.